This is the Google Pixel 2, and this is the Google Pixel 2 XL. The not surprising sequels to last year's flagship from Google. And in my heart, I wanted to love these phones. I was a big fan of the last gens. The cameras are incredible, but there's a lot of things about these phones that aren't perfect. Throughout the course of this review, I'm gonna talk about whether or not I think you should get these phones, if I am buying these phones, and who these phones are for. And as we go through different categories, perhaps you will find out which camp you are in. All right, so let's start where I always begin our reviews with the screens, because that's mostly what you are looking at. It's a 5-inch version and a 6-inch version, depending on which phone you want to go with. It's a 1920 by 1080 panel, or it's a 6-inch 2880 by 1440 panel. Both screens look really nice this time around. I was not a fan of the screen technology on the last gen Pixel phones, but these look really nice. They don't get that bright, and when you do go outside, you notice that they will work in direct sunlight, which is quite nice to say. And also, the black levels are incredible, as you'd expect from an OLED panel. The colors are bright and vibrant. The whites are incredibly white. And on both phones, I didn't have any sort of screen bleed as you get oftentimes if you look at an all white image or an all black image. So pretty impressed with the screen technology. The big things for me, can I see it in the sun? How bright is it gonna get at night? And how do blacks and colors look? And everything across the board look really nice on both phones. While I do love the screen, the auto brightness calibration is super wonky. It's nothing I've ever noticed on any other phone. It was changing all the time when I was just holding the phone. If I was in a dark environment, it got too dark. If I was in a bright environment, it didn't brighten up the screen enough. I had to turn it off. Something's gotta give. Hopefully a software update will fix it. So next, let's talk about design. This is a category that's becoming increasingly important to me, as that's sort of a big way that phones differentiate themselves from each other, how they look and how they feel. So let's start with the Pixel 2. And then it's not a pretty picture from a design standpoint with the Pixel 2. It looks like it got left in like 2015. It's got gigantic bezels, it's got that big Pixel chin, and I get that there are big bezels there, and I also get that they're front-facing speakers now on the phones, but those bezels on the smaller device look almost inexcusable by 2017 standards. And considering this phone is going to be Google's flagship until almost the end of 2018, it is becoming even harder to understand why they would go with that really antiquated design for the Pixel. So it's a different story on the Pixel 2 XL. It is definitely the better looking of the brothers. It's a way better looking phone, still retaining the front-facing speakers of its smaller brother, but in a way better package. In fact, the bezels are so much smaller. The phone itself, despite having a screen that's an inch bigger, is not even that much larger than the Pixels. A couple things that I don't like about the build, and this is on both phones, you can very clearly feel where the screen goes into the body. It's definitely a ridge there, and dust is getting caught. And I imagine they did that to make it a little bit more durable during drops, so no glass is going to be on the outside. But as you scroll, your finger definitely hits up against it. And there's certainly a noticeable sort of gap you can feel with your finger. And I should at least talk a little bit about durability, because while I was testing this phone, admittedly without a case, I dropped it on concrete, and I didn't have any cracks, scratches, or any issue at all. So perhaps that seam along the device that I was complaining about collecting dust does protect the screen if you happen to drop it on a corner. So both phones have a texture on the back. It's kind of nice to feel that. I've been used to using glass phones for a while, whether it was the Samsungs or the iPhone 8 that I've been testing before this. But it does feel nice, and it is not fingerprinty on the back of a phone, so hooray there. The fingerprint sensor is where fingerprint sensors should be on the back. Really nice, easily placed. You can locate it very quickly with your finger. It's also gonna respond incredibly fast. So I think the big question that I had as I was using the Pixel was, is this stock Android anymore? It used to be the Nexus phones and the Pixels were stock Android, but as things are only coming to the Pixel, the launcher, unique to the Pixel, always on display, unique to the Pixel, things like that, it kind of makes you wonder, is this even stock Android anymore? Or is this just sort of the skin or the UI that's put on top of Android for the Pixel line? I'm not sure what stock Android necessarily is anymore. Maybe this is it, but still unique to sort of one or two phones. What do you guys think? I'm not entirely sure. It used to be one of the benefits of using a Pixel phone was you got a native Google experience. Now you're getting a native Google experience that's tweaked and customized for the Pixel. But those tweaks are really nice. I like the always on display. It's almost identical to what we saw with Samsung and LG. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, and it works really well. It's handy to see information at a glance, so I liked having that. As you go ahead and sort of turn the phone on, you start swiping through it and unlocking the device, you'll notice the launcher is different. So Google moved the search bar to the bottom. And I get why they did that. It's easier to tap it with your thumb and do your search. Then on top of that is your dock. On top of that is things you can customize. And then on top of that, you've got the new at a glance where you can set things like weather, traffic, or calendar. So what that's gonna mean in real world usage is about 20% of your screen you cannot customize because you've got a gigantic Google search and then your dock on top of that. Now, obviously a lot of this can be fixed with putting on a third-party launcher. I'm a big fan of Nova. But for the first time in a while, I do not like the launcher that comes with a Nexus or Pixel device. It takes up way too much precious screen real estate. It's weird for me having that gigantic Google search bar on the bottom, especially when I can launch the assistant and subsequent search via a myriad of ways, either squeezing the phone or long pressing on the home button. So that's a personal preference thing right there, but for me, the new UI tweaks here, especially on the launcher, are a no-go. Other things that are new here, it's got something called Now Playing. You gotta turn it on, it's not on by default. But when you do, essentially if you're listening to music, it'll show you on the lock screen what song is playing. And I found that to be pretty inconsistent. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I imagine that'll get better with software updates, but at least out of the box, it was kind of squirrely. Another thing that's new to Android 8.0 is notification dots. And I initially thought that was just a fancy way of showing notifications, showing like, I've got 4 unread messages, but it's a really cool way to get information in context with the app. It sort of gives you more information than just showing a badge count. I liked having it, some of you guys may not, but I appreciated what it did. All right, so camera has been the big deal with the Pixel line of phones. Google said when the first Pixel came out, it was the best camera ever, and they said it again when the Pixel 2s came out, best camera ever. I can't say it's the best camera ever since pretty much every flagship camera looks good, but man, these pictures do look beautiful when they come out. So there's a portrait mode built into here. It'll blur the background, sort of keep the stuff in the foreground in focus. It also works on the front-facing camera, and I found when it works really well. But there are times when it doesn't work and things look all kinds of strange. Now, presumably that will get better because of the aforementioned machine learning, but at least out of the box, it works like 85 to 90% of the time, but it does look really good. And speaking of looking really good, the pictures coming out of this thing look incredible. If you are outdoors in ordinary sunlight, the photos look gorgeous. You're not getting an oversaturated look like you get with maybe a Samsung. You're getting really true to image colors. Things look absolutely beautiful here. Low light is another area where the camera shines. If you don't have that much light, if you're taking pictures of your kids like I do, maybe when the sun is down, really nice here. So I don't have a shaky hand. Oftentimes I'm running, taking video. This has not only optical stabilization, but optical and digital both at the same time. So things look really stable. If you got a shaky hand or trying to film while you're running or skating or doing something else weird with your video camera, it's gonna look pretty stable. All right, so battery is one of the few areas where these phones differ. You've got a 2700 in the Pixel and a 3520 in the XL. As you'd expect from pretty decent sized batteries, battery life is going to be pretty good on both. I'm very easily able to get through a full day on both devices with almost 50% battery life left, and that's with pretty extensive usage. So a lot of YouTube browsing, which you can do in full screen this time, a lot of social media, a lot of email, just looking at the screen quite a bit. I found having always on display actually saves my battery a lot because I'm not turning the screen on to check notifications. So that's probably why I'm up in the 50s as opposed to being in the 40s where I usually am on other devices. So no issues with battery life there at all. Intangibles are usually where I make my decision on phones. What does this give me that another phone's not going to give me? And these Pixels give you a lot of stuff. You get smart storage, you get unlimited photo storage with Google Photos, you get guaranteed software updates. They're priced pretty well and pretty competitively versus the competition, but there's a lot of negatives here as well. So you're not getting expandable storage. You're not getting a headphone jack, which is mind-boggling, especially on the XL, considering it's based off the V30, which has a headphone jack. You're not getting wireless charging, but of course, your really solid quick charging is here. You're getting IP67 and instead of IP68 like most flagship have. I'm guessing one of those things is going to annoy a lot of buyers. And if you don't care about any of that stuff, you're going to get a really good phone. If you look at the competition, especially the similarly priced competition, and the Pixel and the Pixel 2 XL don't really separate themselves that much. So I said at the beginning I'd answer if I was going to buy these phones, and I think I would probably sit this generation out of the Pixel line. The sacrifices of expandable storage, wireless charging, the rest that I mentioned, I can get with other similarly priced flagships. So the Pixel line, Is it for you? Are you gonna pick one up? Are you disappointed? I wanna know why you're picking one up, why you are not. Leave in the comments down below. We'll pin a few comments up to the top and we'll change them up. So if you guys have a good reason, let us know. Give the video a thumbs up, we always appreciate it. Until next time, I'm John Ranger from Techno Buffalo.